so you went from, very modest upbringing, to you're living a different life right now, right? You're raising
Yeah.
your kids, soon to be 4 kids, in a different world than you are. So what is that like? Basically living, you go from one life to another life that is completely different, that is way better. You've got your kids in a, much better shape than whenever you were younger. Even though it sounds like you were a good kid, you just kind of went off the rails a little bit after
Yeah.
we were 18.
Here
But
and there, yeah.
but what is it? What is that like? Living those two different types of lives.
I love it. So like, I mean, in the 90s in California, we lived in this spot called Hogsback right outside of Red Bluff, California, where we literally hand pumped our water and shit in an outhouse. And it's
Wow.
like, you hear that and you're like, holy shit, so my first time going to a third world country, I was like, this is it. like straight up. But I really appreciate it. Then we lived for like 4 years on like basically a marijuana farm in Paynes Creek. If you Google the population of that, it says like 32. It used to say 48. Like there's just nobody out there. So I've lived in like bumfucked Egypt, and I've lived in the city. And so I just, I've lived in other countries. And so it's just this, I'm just kind of blessed, I feel like, to have been exposed to that, because one of the things I worry about with my kids is like, I got rental properties, we got a nice house, we got a pool, like I take them traveling. They've been to, Mexico, Bahamas, Jamaica, like they've been everywhere all the time. And I feel like you got to try to figure out how to instill struggle within your children, because it's like you want them to have a healthy view of like, hey, dude, the real world requires a lot of sacrifice and hard work and effort. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I do, because my wife and I have that same struggle where we came from modest upbringings, and we are constantly trying to make sure that our kids are grounded, and that they are, we remind them constantly how different things are from our lives to their lives, and really how grateful they should be. And so that's why we do focus a lot on the gratitude and all that. So I wonder how you do that. How do you make sure that your kids stay grounded, and that they don't become sort of the typical spoiled brat that you maybe see on TV?
So me and my wife, we're pretty strict with our kids, but essentially, we've always educated them. So like both Matt, who's 3 right now, he can break down assets and liabilities. Zoe's been able to do that since she was 4. But back then, it's like when we were reading that, I read her the books. The things I want to read, I try to stack my habits with her. So like, hey, let's read this, and she might like, nah, you're gonna read it. You know what I mean? Straight up, I'm bigger than you. You have to. And so
That's a hell
like,
of a parenting hack, I'll tell you that. That's a nice little parenting hack.
It's nice, man, because we get to spend some time together. And then it's like my son, he sees that too. And so he'll like, it's very hard to get anything done with him. So he'll just totally kind of screw up story time, because, he's going to zone out on a business book or something. Like we were reading Scaling with Systems, or I forgot the name of the book, like Scaling with Systems. We were just reading that the other night. But that's one thing. And then even when they're out of school, like we have a subscription to education.com. So I make sure she's like constantly doing work and doing exercise and stuff like that. Just making sure that their brain don't go soft, right? Because if you stay out for the whole summer, boom, you're done. And then another thing is, like, I'm not super religious, but my wife is. And so we go to church on Sunday. We've gotten involved in that. Then the kids go, and I just put my daughter into like a Christian school and stuff like that, because I just want to have them grounded with values. But the thing I teach, I'm not so much on little Matt, but my daughters, it's more so like you can make easy decision, or is it, what's the phrase? It's like easy decisions, hard life, or hard choices, yeah. Easy life, easy choices, hard life. And that's what I try to explain to them. Like when I see, for example, if I see like a grown ass able-bodied man on the road, like just sitting there bumming money with shoes that ain't dirty, which I see all the time, I'm just like, that's a person right there that just made bad decisions. They made bad choices. You feel me? And so it's like, you're going to have to experience like pain. You're going to have to experience discomfort regardless, whether you're working hard to solve something or whether you're just being a victim of life. And so it's like, you get the choice. You get to feel pain no matter what, but what would you rather do? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so just try to explain that to them, or sometimes take them to spots where they might see, where it's just different. Be like, this is normal for more people than it's not. You know what I'm saying? So like, and we're all one step away from that. You never know. You know what I'm saying? Life can change very quickly.
100%. Very, very quickly. No, yeah. Especially, I mean, I do personal injury, so it's something where like people's lives are changed in an instant, you know, and things happen so quickly. Or you're talking about, you know, could be crime, could be, you name it, could be a lot of different things. But I do want to shift gears. I want to shift gears when it comes to.
I'm curious. I'm curious though. Before we leave that topic, like what's your strategy with your kids?
It's, to me, it's a lot of making things very consistent, process driven. You have and you know, surprising, you know, people hearing that from me is that what kids really, really need, in my opinion, is stability, right? You have these routines and rituals, and so there are certain rituals and routines that we do on a regular basis. One of them is, I talk about this a lot, but I think it's a really, really important thing, is every single day at dinner, we talk about the funnest thing, except for date night. So I've got date night with my wife. So, and we also, that's a big part of it too, is where, my wife and I, her name's Amy. Like Amy and I, whenever we go to date night, we demonstrate to them that's our date night. That's our time to spend with each other, and we try to show that love that we have for each other in front of them. So we try to demonstrate that to them so they can see that how important that is. But you know, doing the funnest thing at dinner every night. So really building these routines and then demonstrating it to them as well. So the thing about kids is that it's not about really what you say to them, I do the same thing where I try to tell them things too, but that's not really what matters. It's what you actually doing that matters. They watch you. They're always watching you. They're seeing what you're doing, and they're just going to imitate what you do. And that's why I think it's so important. I think it's really cool, the things that you're doing. And that's what we like to do the same thing with traveling and stuff too with the kids, where we do have our sort of adults only trips that we take. But we also have the ones where absolutely, really, really important. But then we also do have the ones where we take the kids, and so to me, a lot of it's about routine and consistency and demonstrating to them what the things they should and shouldn't do. And then I guess the other main thing is showing how their actions can affect other people. That one's really important. And the way I'll usually do that is I'll say something like, you know, how do you think that makes such and such feel? Even if it's not something that our kids did, you know, maybe another kid had done something, you know, well, how do you think that they felt in that situation? And having them sort of understand that part of it and exercising empathy is really, really important.
What you said right there too is like, what do you think? I think asking your kids that, especially like my 3-year-old, you know, with him, he's not the type where you're going to just be able to I had to send him to his room because he was hitting, right? This dude comes back with boxing gloves on. I was like, I can't even be mad at this guy. But it's like with him, you know, getting aggressive or, you know, doing all that with him just don't work. And so I've always found like, hey, kneel down, get eye level and just be like, what's up, man? Let's and just start asking questions and straight up. And so like when it's like that, they'll know, like my kids will be, yes, dad, you know, straight up, you know, the little Matt, like he's 3. He's the one that'll, you know, if Zoe or Maya doesn't say it, they'll be like, you didn't say yes, dad. And I'm just like telling on each other and stuff. But yeah, I think the rituals are super critical. So you guys do like rituals with other family? Because you said you moved closer to family now. So like
we did. We moved closer to family.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So one of them is a really big one. This maybe seems simple, and a lot of people might do this, but we always read The Night Before Christmas and then The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. We read that every single year. So I read The Night Before Christmas. My wife reads The Grinch. And so the entire family, all the little kids from the family, from not just our family, but all the families, they'll sit in the living room and we'll read to them. And so there's little things like that throughout the year. You know, when we'll have like Halloween, we'll have, in our neighborhood's really big about you know, trick-or-treating. We have hundreds of people. It's massive.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, we have chili, you know, over at our house, and, you know, we have people over, and usually the grandparents are the ones, whenever we're taking the kids out, they're handing out candy. But what our kids enjoy the most is actually coming back to give out candy. So they like we go out, cool. We'll hit a few streets and then we'll come right back. I did notice this last year, our oldest, he wanted to go back out. So I'm not super surprised. He's, you know, 14. And so he's wanting to go out and, you know, get some more candy.
Without dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Run around with my friends.
Went out with his buddies. Yeah, that's for sure.